Good morning, students. So, today we are going to start a new chapter, that is Kingdom Classification 1. In the previous chapter, we have read what is classification, but now in this chapter, we will read about it in detail. There are nearly 30 million varieties of living organisms on the earth. Are they similar to each other or they differ? People you see on the street all look different from one another. Some are taller, some are shorter, some have lighter skin color, some darker, right? Even plants are also different from each other. So, on the basis of certain common characteristics, biologists have separated them into certain specific groups, and this concept lead to the idea of classification. So, classification is the process of putting organisms into groups based on their characteristics. So, how it is helpful? It helps in identifying organisms and categorize them into groups. It makes the study of living organisms easier. It helps to recognize the relationship among the various groups of organisms. It provides information about plants and animals living in different regions. The modern system of biological classification consists of different levels or ranks. In figure 2.1, you can see the ranks of the biological classification system. The highest rank of classification is kingdom. Kingdom consists of a group of organisms sharing some common features. And each successive rank in the classification system comprises fewer organisms, but with greater similarity. Now you tell me, what is the lowest rank of classification? It is species, right? Species is a group of similar organisms that can reproduce among themselves. So organisms are classified according to a system comprising 7 ranks. What are they? First is kingdom, then phylum, class, order, family, genus, then species. Now what is taxonomy? The science that deals with classification is called taxonomy. And the scientists who work in this field are known as taxonomists. Carolus Linnaeus, a Swedish botanist, proposed a two-kingdom classification system. That is, plants and animals based on their features. That is, cell wall is present or not, what is their mode of nutrition, how they move from one place to another, and how they respond to stimuli. Linnaeus also introduced the binomial system of naming organism. This system is called binomial nomenclature. According to this system, every organism is assigned two names, a generic name and a specific name. For example, the common name is human being and its scientific name is Homo sapiens. Then Homo is the generic name and sapiens is the specific name. The first name is the genus name and begins with a capital letter. So, Homo means H should be capital because it is genus name. The second name is the species name and begins with a small letter. Means in Homo sapiens, sapiens is the species name and it should begin with small letter s. Scientific names are always printed in italics, but when written by hand are underlined separately. There are some drawbacks of Linnaeus classification. Linnaeus placed unicellular and multicellular forms together and did not differentiate between photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic organism. So it was thus felt that Linnaeus system of classification was inadequate. There were a number of organisms that neither fit in plant kingdom nor in animal kingdom. After that came Whittaker's 5-kingdom classification, in which R.H. Whittaker proposed a 5-kingdom classification of living organisms. So the 5 kingdoms are Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. About animal kingdom we have already read in the previous chapter. This system of classifying organisms is widely accepted and is based on the following criteria. First one is complexity of cell structure. As we all know that organisms are made up of cells. These cells are divided into two parts, that is prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells do not have a well-defined nucleus, that is the DNA. What is the full form of DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. And this DNA lies freely in the cytoplasm in prokaryotic cells, and they do not possess membrane-bound organelles such as mitochondria, chloroplasts, etc. Examples are what? Bacteria, blue-green algae, etc. Whereas eukaryotic cells have a well-defined membrane-bound nucleus along with nucleolus, which contain DNA, RNA and protein, and chromatin, which consists of DNA and protein, and other cell organelles also, such as mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, plastids, Golgi apparatus, etc. All other organisms belonging to kingdom Protista, fungi, plantae and animalia are examples of eukaryotes. Next is complexity of body design, means unicellularity and multicellularity. Uni means one, cellular means cell, means the organisms made up of a single cell are called unicellular organisms. For example, amoeba, euglena, etc. Whereas multicellular means organisms made up of many cells. A majority of organisms that we see around us are multicellular. Next is mode of nutrition. The process by which organisms take in food and utilize it for growth and development is called nutrition. There are two modes of nutrition, that is autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition. Auto means self and trophic means nutrition. So it is a type of nutrition in which the organism makes its own food from inorganic substances present in the environment. For example, plants. Plants do photosynthesis to synthesize their own food. In heterotrophic nutrition, the organism cannot make its own food and depend upon other organisms for food to survive. They are also called heterotrophs, such as protists, fungi, and all animals. So I hope this much you have understood. On the next class, we will read from Kingdom Monera. Thank you.